Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Kevin Eldstrom. As was said, I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5, and I thought it was kind of strange. Some of the symptoms, according to the Official Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, that's the book that the doctors use to determine whether or not somebody has ADHD. Some of those symptoms, as described in this book, are as follows: fidgets and squirms, leaves seat, blurts out, difficulty waiting turn, lacks attention to detail, difficulty giving attention to tasks, doesn't listen, loses things, runs about and climbs excessively. You know, I find it strange that they diagnosed me at 5 because you would think that those symptoms were just typical classroom behaviors. And so, from that age of 5 was when I started taking medication throughout my life. Medication did and didn't help, but it was something that eventually I didn't need, and I will get back to that in a bit. Now, a lot of us may see someone with ADHD as somebody who is hyper, somebody who is disorganized, somebody who has little attention, but I disagree. I have a lot of energy, but that energy can be used if I know how to make it work for me. The attention, I may not be able to be attentive to one thing, but I can think about many things at once. I am able to jump from one subject to another and then back again without a moment's hesitation. So therefore, because of that ability, I can multitask. But this excessive energy may be hard to work with when you don't know how to work with it at age 5. So during that time, when I was age 5, not knowing what this attention deficit hyperactive disorder was, or what it meant to me, or what it was doing to me, so to speak, I just did what all kids like to do. They just want to be themselves. And so in elementary school, I remember that at one point they had me go to the principal's office on a weekly basis. I can't remember exactly what the reason was for it because it was so long ago, but when I look back on it, I felt that it was very supportive. Like they could help me express myself. The principal had always given me this puzzle, and I was to complete it. This principal honestly didn't expect me to, but I did, and so he had to find more things for me to do, just because I was very active and interested. So, to say the least, the younger years were interesting, but as I grew up, starting to learn about ADHD, it was interesting to see the interactions that I had with not only adults but other students. And if I may be very honest with you all, I didn't feel like I had any friends until junior high. That would be 7th grade for me. But junior high was a tipping point. But before junior high, I had interesting interactions in middle school. Middle school was very difficult for me at roughly the age of 12 or 5th grade. I had a lot of things happening. The first thing being that my father was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and for those who don't know, stage 4 is essentially terminal. And along with that, I was also switching medications because the initial medications weren't working for me per se. Now, just to complicate all that, during that time, I had a teacher who, interestingly enough, she was in special education but had transferred to become a 5th grade teacher. I don't know terms exactly. And so she, instead of working with me, knowing that I had ADD or ADHD at the point, she would instead give me the homework and send me to the detention center. Now, I harbor no ill will or ill feelings for her. She did what she felt was necessary for me, but in the end, I forgive her. So my father had passed, but during that time, I was able to meet up with Scott Knaus. He is part of the Befriender program here. That was 12 years ago. And to this day, I am still friends with him, and I actually, it's more than that to me. He's more family than anything else. He, along with other family members and friends, have been a huge support through my time of difficulties, especially with ADD and ADHD. Support, I feel, is necessary to highlight because with anybody going through anything, it's always nice to have somebody to talk to. So support for me was crucial, and I don't know what I would have done without that support. I'm going to add in a little snippet here. 3 to 5% of children have symptoms of ADD or ADHD, and 2 to 4% of adults do as well. So that means 1 in at least every 50 people that you encounter may have either symptoms or have ADD or ADHD. So it may be inevitable. Now, if I may say, don't think of them as different, but just think of them as a different thinker. Everybody thinks differently, and if we may rid the stereotype of ADHD or ADD being a bad thing, it would make for a happier world, in my opinion, and make me personally happy. Now, in that stage, when I was going through middle school and going into junior high, I also had to identify with myself what was going on with me. What is this thing they call it, attention deficit hyperactive disorder? I sought to fight it, so to speak. And in the long run, I ended up getting rid of medication because to me, the medication was more of a cover-up. It didn't let me be me. Now, I'm not saying that medication is only a negative thing for those who have ADD or ADHD. It can help. But what I am saying is, for me personally, after I was able to get rid of the medication, I truly became who I was. In 7th grade, though, that was one of the big years, that was a tipping point for me. I was trying to revamp or reorganize myself to utilize what they considered my hyperness. I considered excessive or extra energy. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was also working on my attention, knowing that I would need to be able to not have to, or to convince the doctor, honestly, that I didn't need it. And so I was still getting in trouble. I would be sent to the detention center for actually doing some pretty silly things, and just typical disruptive behaviors. But in this 7th grade, I had a vice principal by the name of Miss Kurtzel. Her office was connected right with the detention center, and she pulled me aside. She told me, "You are different from the others. You don't do those bad behaviors just to do the bad behaviors. There's something different about you." She helped to instill and reinforce that there is something good within me. And so her support was crucial, and I did not realize it at the time. I've realized it later on, and I am extremely appreciative. And in that time during high school, yet again, figuring out who I am, I ended up discovering that ADHD is part of me, whether they want to word it with those negative words as attention deficit, hyperactive disorder. Those two words I disagree with currently, but if they want to label me with ADHD, you know what? I will gladly claim that I have ADHD and state to them, it is not a negative thing. It is a positive thing. To me, I believe that everyone who knows somebody or has ADD or ADHD can truly become an inspiration and truly become something more than what they currently think. Which brings up a story sort of related to this, that during high school, there was a time when in one of my classes, I forget which, my apologies, that we had to create a cereal, like make our own cereal. We had a small budget that with everything that we do on this box of cereal, it costs a certain amount of quote-unquote money. I thought this was a great project. It let me be creative, and it let me kind of poke fun at things if I really wanted to. And so, in the end, the class got to judge which cereal box was the best, and the winner would get rewarded. Needless to say, the cereal box that won was called ADHDOs. I was slightly mad, as you might imagine, and I looked at those students who created this box, and I thought to myself, they do not know what it's like. They don't know what I'm going through. But hopefully one day they can understand, because it is the understanding that allows us to accept others for who they are, no matter what may be going on with them, or even if they have other disorders or things about them. We're all people. We're all the same in the end, humans. But I do have to say that there are a few successful people out there who have ADD and ADHD who utilize it to their advantage. Some of those people being Justin Timberlake, Will Smith, Michael Phelps, Jim Carrey, Howie Mandel, Terry Bradshaw, Ty Pennington, and Robin Williams. I'm sure you all know who Ty Pennington and Robin Williams are. You can definitely see that they utilize their disorder to their advantage, to make people laugh, to get their attention. It's just that ADHD is not something that is negative to me. It is a positive. And it's made me who I am, and I accept it for what it is. And hopefully, for those who do have it, you will also accept it for what it is and utilize those abilities, not defects, to your advantage. And for those of us who know people with ADD or ADHD, we can support them and give them the resources needed to empower them to become better. Thank you.